Daily Gist with Jesse and Lucci.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to.
Hot and trendy gist with Jesse and Lucci.
And on today's episode, we will bring you some fantastic news of what is going around the UK, mainly here in England where we live. And for our first news today, we'll be talking about the ongoing protests in Southampton, the stabbing of Henry Nowak, and also the 5 things a police officer can do to help a stabbed victim. And for the first news, we'll be starting with the ongoing protest in Southampton as of June 4th, 2026. The ongoing unrest in Southampton as of 4th June 2026 stems from violent riots that erupted on Tuesday 2nd June, following public outrage over police body cam footage released to the December 2025 murder of 18-year-old student Henry Nowak, released after the killer's life sentencing on Monday. The video showed arriving officers handcuffing and arresting the dying Nowak after the perpetrator falsely claimed to be the victim, ignoring Nowak's pleas that he could not breathe. The viral footage sparked an independent Office for Police Conduct investigation and led to a large demonstration outside Southampton Central Police Station. The protest escalated into a riot as crowds, including the far-right agitators, marched towards Portswood and St. Denis, throwing bricks, bottles, and flares at police, which left 11 officers and a police dog injured. Today, fast-tracked Today, fast-tracked legal proceedings began at Southampton Magistrate Court, where two rioters, Daniel Frost, pleaded guilty to violent disorders, and Matt Styler pleaded not guilty to assaulting an officer, with both remanded in custody, while Prime Minister Keir Starmer and local leaders have condemned the disgraceful violence, and Nowak's family have pleaded for community peace. Hampshire Constabulary maintain a heavy police presence on the non-established street to deter further disorder. Okay. The headline of our next news is student stabbed with 21 cm knife, murdered trial told. A first-year university student was stabbed to death by an attacker captured saying, "I am a bad man," moment before inflicting the fatal wound, a court has heard. Henry Nowak, 18, from Chafford 100 Excess, was killed as he walked back from a night out in Southampton on December 3rd. A trial at Southampton Crown Court held that the alleged attacker, Vikram Digwal, 23, was filmed by Noah carrying a shastra, which is the Punjabi word for weapon or knife, which had a 21 cm blade. Digo denies murder and carrying a knife in public. His mother, Kiran Kaur, 53, is also on trial and denies assisting an offender by removing a weapon from the murder scene. Nicholas Lombard Casey, prosecuting, said accountancy and finance student Nowak had been sending Snapchat videos to friends as he walked home along Belmont Road after drinking less than the drink drive limit. Jurors heard the attack was not witnessed, but neighbors heard Nowak say he had been stabbed and was dying before trying to escape by climbing over a fence. A blood trail indicated he had already been fatally wounded, the court heard. Footage played in court captured an exchange in which Nowak said, "In it, bad man." "What bad man?" You're a bad man." "Say you're a bad man, go on." To which Digwe replied, "I am a bad man." The video ended moment later. The court heard Nowak's phone was later found in Digwe's pocket. Digwe's mother was later allegedly filmed removing the knife and taking it to the family's home in nearby St. Denis Road, where it was recovered. Is A post-mortem examination found Nowak suffered 4 stab wounds. Digwa claimed he was racially abused and acted in self-defense. His barrister said jurors must consider whether he acted in the heat of the moment, and the trial continues. So we're going to hear more about this news as we go on. Okay, now moving on to the five things a police officer can do to help a stab victim. One, they must apply emergency first aid. Two, they must request emergency medical service, which is e.g. like ambulance. Three, they must secure and isolate the crime scene. Four, they must gather intelligence and reassure the victim. And lastly, they must initiate safeguarding and support referrals. And I would like to get your take on this because I find it really interesting. And also, Luchi, what do you think about the news?
All right. I think there should be a sixth item there on the things the police can do to help a stab victim. And for me, it should be listening to um, whoever, anybody in the crime scene, if it's the accused or whoever is accusing, whoever called the police, whoever it is, like listen, because the news going around is Henry was complaining, I can't breathe, I've been stabbed. And one of the police officers said, you haven't been stabbed, mate. You know, making it look like Henry was lying. You need to listen. Just like the case of, what's it called now? The man in the US that was killed by the police when he was, you know, being arrested. When he was saying, I can't breathe. If they have listened to him at that point, he'll still be alive today. George Floyd, right? Yes, he'll still be alive today. So when you are as a police officer, if you're carrying out an arrest, you need to listen to whatever is being said by the person. You know, nobody, because the person can even be innocent. Because according to the common law in the United Kingdom, states that anybody is not guilty until proven so beyond reasonable doubt. So don't come to the crime scene treating whoever as a criminal already. That's how they treated. That's how Henry was treated. And it's quite unfortunate that Digwa played the system. He knows what to say. He knew what to say to get out of that kind of a situation. And it happened a lot of times. Happens every now and then. It happens in even road accidents. Sometimes she taxi gets into accidents, and because they are used to this kind of accident scene and all that, and they know what to say, how to make a maneuver, and even make themselves look like the victim. Sometimes, you know. So some people know how to play the system, and I think that's what Digwa did, and diverted the attention of the police away from himself to Henry. And the police, quite unfortunate, they fell for it. It shows how poorly trained these police officers are as well. Because you come to crime scene, first of all, you should do your preliminary investigation on the crime scene there and then, you know. And I don't, for no reason, yeah, I've seen several cases where stab victims have been handcuffed. I've heard complaints of people say they were stabbed and one time they were handcuffed even after being stabbed in the UK. I think that's something the police they need to work on as well. Somebody has had a very severe injury like a knife stab, and you're still arresting the person. I can't wrap my head around that. And also, some persons are beginning to play politics with this news, trying to make themselves look like, yes, we're fighting for the people and all that. And I'm talking about no other person than Nigel Farage, because that man should consider himself a disgrace as a man, a disgrace as a father. I'm sorry that I'm using these words because I am a father. On no account will I see a young man lose his life like that. And I'm encouraging the masses to go out and express rage. Now, when you tell people to go out and because that's what Najib Farage said. He said he expects the people to go out and show their rage and their anger. Now, God bless Kestama for how he put him where he belongs. Because now the family of Henry Nowak has asked the public not to capitalize on these incidents and cause mayhem or whatever. This is the family that is grieving. They still have the human the sense, the common sense, the humanity in them. To speaking like please don't go out and turn this into a national disaster, chaos, and because this like this often leads to this kind of unrest like we're having in Southampton now. And the family have done very well to appeal to the public. But here you go, having Nigel Farage asking the people to go do exactly what this grieving family have appealed to the public not to do, giving more opportunity for chaos, which might possibly lead to loss of life or dangerous or injuries that can be life threatening or life changing. How dare you go ask the people to show rage and you're a public figure vying for the position of the prime minister of a country like Britain? If you ask me, that's inciting the public to cause unrest. It's supposed to be arrestable offense, if I'm correct or not. Can leave your comment on the comment section. Educating us more on this. But I feel he should be picked up for questioning. You know, he has very low moral standards. If you ask me, you're not trying to make any point. You're not trying to become the angel in this kind of situation. Asking the people to go show rage. Rage to who? Is it rage to Digwa, who's been arrested already and facing the law, or rage to the police? And if it's the police, what example are you asking? What so you're trying to make the society unlivable? Because imagine everybody start fighting and burning down police stations, causing. How do you expect the society to function? How safe will the society become when the police can't work effectively, or those are not scared to do the job? It just shows you the kind of person like how can. But I watched the video of Christema in on the house where he was questioning the moral standard and etiquette of the Nigel Farage, and he said something. It shows you the kind of person Nigel Farage is, and he's absolutely spot on. So I think these are my takes, and yes, the police they need to listen more in a situation like that. And some person was also talking about two-tier policing. Well, for me, I don't believe there's anything like that. And for two-tier policing, it means police have been instructed, fear of whatever, you know, they tend to play the administrative card on. For instance, the person has said I was racially abused because they don't want to get this racial backlash, like oh the police are racist and stuff like that. They went straight on without any investigation, arresting the person that was said to be the racist. So again, we need to do better in our societies. I don't see the reason why somebody walking about the street carrying knife, carrying weapons for me. And secondly, if you're a public office holder, be mindful of what you say because people look up to you. You're like a role model, like a standard. People trying to want to be like you. They tell their children, "Oh, you're gonna grow up to be like a stammer. You're gonna grow up. I want you to grow up to be like Farage." And I can never advise anybody to grow up to be like that man, Farage, because whatever I've heard him speak several times, and he's very, very uncultured, very, very like I don't want to use the word unintelligent because that's exactly how I see him. He doesn't think about the things he says. He's like a desperate person for attention, desperate for a position, and he wants to get there by every means possible. And such people should not be allowed into public offices, if you ask me. All right. So this is my take against Nigel Farage for saying something like inciting the public to go out and expressing rage. Rage. That's a very big word to use in this kind of situation, especially after the family have advised and pleaded against situations like this. Okay, and my condolences to the family of Henry Nowak, such a young man. His life has been cut short in this kind of circumstances, and I hope this whole incident ends up making our society better, and the life of Henry Nowak can even be more, idolized hereafter. Right. So I think that's my take on that. Okay.
Okay, Lucy, thank you for that. Okay, moving on to our last news for me. The headline is council workers stole more than half of annual budget and spent it on drug binge. And this news about how former parish council clerk Stephen Gillingwater had been sentenced to 18 months in prison for stealing £100,000, roughly 60% of the annual budget, from Colnbrook with Poyle Parish Council to fund a severe cocaine addiction. Over a 3-month period in 2023, Water forged signatures on 18 checks to divert public funds into personal accounts, with none of the money recoverable. The case highlighted vulnerability in the small parish council financial oversight, and has triggered an independent review of internal control. That's really unexpected of a council. I would like to get the audience opinion on this news and what you think should be done about this. So, Lucy, is there
Yeah,
anything you want to add?
yeah. As much as he should be treated like a criminal because he did commit a crime, stealing public funds is a crime and it's punishable offense. I also like to appeal that while he's in prison or wherever he's been sent to, he should be given help because people like this they need help, and help to fight to come out of that addiction. So when he gets released, he doesn't fall back into that mess. And my sincere take on this is don't start at all. By not starting, I mean don't start the use of drugs. It never ends well. It never will end well. It has never ended well. It's like going on an endless journey that leads to your doom. I've watched movies, I've seen real life situations where people who had life dreams, expectations for themselves, ambition, and all of it ended up in the bins just because they started doing drugs. I'm not saying they're taking this lightly. I'm not saying I've seen people, peers, schoolmates of mine and stuff, you know, who work today right now, they're nowhere near anything called a life. Why? Just because they thought they could delve into drugs, have fun for the moment, and their life ended. People who wanted to be pilots, wanted to be doctors, you know, right now, they're even homeless. There's been nobody who I've known who has gone into drugs that has had a life after. You might think they're having a life. They might look at them and after this person is doing well, this person is doing well. But for how long? That's the question. How long is this person going to sustain this habit? You can imagine this council worker, didn't- the day he started taking the drug was not when he started stealing. He must have used up all his savings, probably ended up in debt, and you know, right before he started stealing. Because you first of all use your own resources, and when you've run out, you start looking for what that means, to maintain your bad habits. So again, don't start. My simple advice for you, my simple take: don't start. Fight the urge. Fight the just fight. Don't start. Okay. All right. So I think I have a news here that might interest you because it's summertime, right? It's summertime, and summer. So people like to go on their vacations, right? So I'll be bringing you top 10 UK's dirtiest airports. Okay, so the UK's dirtiest airports named. And guess what? It is not Heathrow. It is not Manchester Airport. Okay, so I'll keep you. Let's go on with this news. Okay, so brace yourself, right? The airports are about to be busier than a Greg's at lunchtime as Brit storms the gates for their summer sun quest. One big travel rush, and the place looks like a food court after closing. You know how these airports are, Yeah, I know how the airports can look like in summer. A new study, no, first of all the UK airports turning into a full contact spot as the Brits prepare for their escape mission to sun hotspots. Some countries are hotter than some in summer, so you find out people tend to visit these countries again, suntan and all of that. Now, a new study has ranked UK's airports by how often travelers complain about the cleanliness. Private Tours England went through Google reviews for 50 UK airports and counted how many times people use the word dirty in their comments, in their reviews. Okay, so we'll dive into this now. So, guess who's number one in this on the list?
I'd say London or
I've
Newcastle.
just said London is and Manchester are not top two.
Newcastle.
No.
Oh,
For
damn.
number
I'd like
one,
to know.
I've got Leeds Bradford Airport, 2.46%. Oh, parents use the word dirty and clean. Dirty. Manchester Airport, 1.45. So Manchester is not number one, like I said. It's number two. And that airport can be very busy, can be dirty. Yes, especially in summer. Because that's the airport I use a lot. Terminal 2. However, I go pick people from up from there. Anybody coming to me, come to the airport. So I go always go there to pick. Like I was there a month ago to pick my parents who were visiting. So that airport can be dirty and very unclean sometimes, especially the toilets, right? And then the Belfast Airport, International Airport, number three. London Stansted is number four. Birmingham Airport, number five. Edinburgh Airport, number six. London Luton Airport, number seven. Newcastle Airport, you're mentioning the number eight. Bristol Airport, number nine. And East Midland Airport, number 10. So these are the rankings of the UK 10 dirtiest airports. And you see, traveling it's quite expensive. It's a quite expensive adventure. People pay a lot to travel, both planes and all that. And I think um, having spent such amount of money, I think the process of traveling, shouldn't leave them falling sick after embarking on such journeys because people tend to contract a lot of illness and from journeys like this. You know, so please, I have traveled a lot and I've seen airports outside the UK. For instance, go to a country like Qatar, the Doha airport, for instance. You know, you see airports or the Abu Dhabi airport. You see very, very, very majestical, clean. To I don't want to look at even for instance the Domodovo airport in Russia, for instance, just like paradise. You've been at the airport and you don't want to go home, or you don't want your plane to arrive, or but this place are just clean, lovely to be in, and please, I like the UK authorities look into this and try to make the airport as clean as it can be, you know, because these are the first port of call when somebody comes to the country, the first places they get into. It tells a lot about the country, how clean we are in the country. So yes, we can do more than we're doing now, and hopefully a lot gets done. All right, and it's 6 days to the World Cup. The countdown has already begun a long time ago. 6 days to the World Cup, and we're bringing you details of the World Cup as it's unveiled itself, and hopefully you won't get bored and because people think the World Cup is a very boring event and their favorite clubs are not playing, and they tend to always want to see their favorite club play. Since it's not their clubs, they don't feel any interest or have any interest. We'll try as much as possible to make it interesting for you. Okay. All right. So that'll be it for us today on Hot and Trendy Gist with Jesse and Lucci. And like we always say, if you've had fun with us,
Don't forget to hit the like button, click your notification bell to turn it on, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more.
yes, and tell your friends to tell their friends that this channel is banging and this channel needs your support. All right. Okay. Until we come your way again, just stay blessed, stay up, and stay safe.
Bye.
trendy gist with Jesse and Lucci, bringing you hot takes discussing